Have you ever wondered why some people rise from nothing, no money, no support, no chance, and build a life that inspires millions? It's not luck. It's not just talent. It's built on three powerful F words: faith to see beyond what's visible, failure that forged unshakable strength, and fortune, not just in wealth, but in purpose. This isn't just another motivational story. This is Steve Harvey's journey, from living in his car, broke and hopeless, to becoming a global legend of laughter, love, and leadership. But this story isn't just about Steve. It's about you, your comeback, your calling, your legend. Because here at Legend Made Here, we don't just watch greatness, we build it. So buckle up. You're about to discover how to turn your pain into power and your failure into fortune. Let's begin. Number 1, faith. What faith really means, according to Steve Harvey. Have you ever stood at the edge of a decision, heart pounding, knees weak, and still taken the leap? That's not courage. That's not confidence. That's faith. Steve Harvey says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You don't need proof when you got faith. Faith is not a feeling. It's a function. It's what makes you move when everything in life says, stay still. It's what makes you believe in someday when today looks like a dead end. Steve didn't have a backup plan. He had a prayer. He didn't have guarantees. He had God. He tells the story of when he had only $35 in his pocket and still chose to fly to an audition because he believed God didn't bring him this far to leave him. Faith is not magic. It's movement, and sometimes it looks like showing up when no one invites you. Sometimes it means smiling when all you want to do is cry. Steve Harvey teaches us, if you're going to pray about it, don't worry about it. But if you're going to worry, don't bother praying. Faith in the dark, when nothing makes sense. Faith doesn't shine the brightest in the light. It reveals itself in the dark. Steve Harvey knows this. He slept in his car, showered in gas stations, cried alone, and yet believed. God has never missed a payment. He may not come when you want, but he's always on time. Faith is what keeps you moving when you don't hear answers, when heaven is silent, when your friends laugh at your dreams, when your family tells you to quit, when everything inside you says, this is not working. That's where faith starts, not ends. Because faith is not the absence of fear. It's walking with fear and still choosing to trust. Steve says, your career might not make sense right now. Your bank account might not look like success. But if you trust God with your dream, He'll blow your mind. So don't let your current condition convince you of a permanent conclusion. You are not stuck. You are being tested. And God only tests those He's preparing for more. What happens when you choose faith? So what happens when you choose faith? When you jump without wings? Steve Harvey says, if you take the leap, your parachute may not open right away, but it will open. Faith invites pain, yes, but it also brings power. It opens doors no degree ever could. It leads to places you can't reach by talent alone. It shows you what you were born for. Steve's success didn't come from just jokes or charm. It came from a relentless belief that God wasn't finished with him yet. So the question isn't, do you have enough faith? The question is, are you willing to act on the faith you already have? Faith doesn't make things easy. It makes things possible. Your journey won't be perfect, but with faith, it will be purposeful. And that's what Steve teaches best. I'm not here because I was lucky. I'm here because I believed. So believe, not just in the destination, but in the one who walks with you through every step of the way. Number 2, failure. The truth about failure. Everyone falls. Let's clear one thing up. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path that takes you there. Steve Harvey didn't just stumble into success. He walked through failure over and over again. I lost everything more than once, slept in my car for 3 years. People laughed at me, and still I kept going. Why? Because failure doesn't define you. Quitting does. Most people don't succeed because they can't handle the sting of rejection, the silence after a risk, or the embarrassment of falling. But Steve, he failed on stage. He failed in business. He failed in relationships, but he never failed to try again. Every great story has a fall. The question is, will you get back up? Because here's the truth. Failure is the universe asking, how bad do you want it? And Steve Harvey wanted it bad. How failure builds strength. People think success makes you strong. It doesn't. Failure does. Every no that Steve Harvey heard built the muscle to handle the yes. Every door slammed in his face taught him how to build his own. When I was homeless, I learned how to trust God. When I got booed on stage, I learned how to rewrite my material. When I lost money, I learned how to protect it. That's what failure is. Life's private mentorship program. It strips you of pride. It sharpens your skills. It reveals your true purpose. Steve's biggest breakthroughs came after his biggest breakdowns. You can't get the reward without enduring the lesson. So don't hide from failure. Run toward it. Because behind every closed door, every red X, every bad day, is a version of you that's stronger than you ever imagined. Turning failure into fuel. You ever notice how the most powerful people have the deepest scars? That's no accident. Steve Harvey didn't just survive failure, he used it. I turned every mistake into a message, every loss into a lesson, every delay into a direction. That's what makes failure beautiful. It's never wasted, but only if you let it fuel you. Fuel your hunger, fuel your fight, fuel your future. When Steve bombed his first shows, he didn't walk away. He walked back in with better material, more heart, more fight. That's how you turn failure into fortune. Not by avoiding it, but by absorbing its energy. So next time you fall, don't just bounce back. Bounce forward. Let your failure be the fire that forges your next move. Because Steve Harvey didn't just fall, he flew because he wasn't afraid to fail. Number 3, fortune. What real fortune looks like. When you hear the word fortune, what comes to your mind? A mansion? $1 million check? Private jets and red carpets? Not for Steve Harvey. Fortune, he says, isn't about what you've got. It's about who you've become. You see, Steve didn't find fortune when he made his first million. He found it when he discovered his purpose. Real fortune isn't found in bank accounts. It's found in peace. It's waking up and knowing your life has meaning. It's doing what you were born to do, and doing it with love. Steve says, I've been broke and I've been rich. Being rich is better, but being in your purpose is the best. Fortune is a mindset. It's the overflow of faith and failure. Faith gives you vision. Failure gives you wisdom. And fortune is what happens when you keep walking anyway. How fortune finds you. Most people chase fortune. Few attract it. Steve Harvey didn't find success. Success found him on the other side of consistency, character, and calling. When you do what God put in you, the world pays attention, he says. You don't get fortune by faking. You get it by growing. When Steve started doing comedy, nobody clapped. When he went on radio, nobody believed in him. But he kept showing up with excellence, faith, and humility. And that's the secret. Fortune finds people who are ready, not perfect, just prepared. So, what does that mean for you? It means your fortune might not look like Steve's, but if you're serving others, using your gift and doing it with love, you're already wealthy. Because the real fortune, it's freedom, the freedom to be who you are without apology. Turning faith and failure into fortune. So how do you turn faith and failure into fortune? Simple. You refuse to quit. Steve Harvey didn't win by chance. He earned it. with broken nights, brave leaps, and bold prayers. Fortune didn't come when I got famous, Steve says. It came when I became grateful. Faith is what made him jump. Failure is what taught him to land. But gratitude is what taught him to stay grounded. You want fortune? Then turn your pain into purpose. Turn your lessons into leadership. Turn your story into someone else's survival guide. Steve's fortune isn't measured by money. It's measured by impact. And yours can be too. So don't count your fortune by numbers. Count it by lives touched, hearts changed, and moments you chose to stand back up. Because that is a life worth living. That is fortune. You've just heard the truth. Faith is your fuel. Failure is your fire. And fortune, it's your future, waiting on the other side of persistence. Steve Harvey didn't become a legend by chance. He fought for every inch. He cried, fell, bled, and still kept moving. And if he can, so can you. The real question is, will you believe when no one claps? Will you rise when life knocks you out? Will you stay the course when everything screams, quit? Because the next chapter of your story isn't written by chance. It's written by choice. Choose faith, embrace failure, and claim your fortune. If this inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and hit that bell icon. Join the Legend Made Here community, where stories become fuel and failures become firepower. Because here, we don't just dream big, we live legendary. Until next time, keep walking. Your legend is waiting.